Welcome back, everybody. This is Stephen Young with the Young Realty Podcast, and this week we're talking about an acquisition property of our own. It is a junior one-bedroom in downtown Toronto. It's about 450 square feet. It's cash flow positive, but I'm going to talk to you this week about how we bought it for very little money down, and it's going to have cash flow positive with high returns. And that's what this week's episode is about. So when it comes to condominium cash flow properties, especially in downtown Toronto, they are few and far between. Now, I am also not a very typical investor when it comes to condominium properties, namely because they're hard to find that are cash flow positive, but also because I don't like the pre-construction market necessarily, because one, the closing fees are astronomically high, as well as the length of time for the return on the investment is way too long. So how I do it is part of the topics I want to talk to you about today, and this is more of a case study as well. And so when it comes to pre-construction condominiums, now typically the process works as follows. So you'll go to a sales center, you'll put down a deposit. It's generally 20%, especially in Toronto. Some places is higher, some places lower. That money sits there for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even longer. There's a building across the street from my office. Here's 10 years in the making before the investors saw a return on their investment. Those timelines do not work in my world. I need short, compressed windows of opportunity. So the only thing I buy pre-construction is as follows. One, obviously because it's a super speculative environment, and I don't speculate to a degree where I don't know the outcome of the property. So pre-construction company is too speculative, meaning that when I buy it today, I don't know the value when I get it in 3 years or 4 years. I don't know what the market's going to be doing, and I don't know if it's going to be cash flowing because I won't know what the rent is. Now, in hindsight and in past histories, generally the prices go up over time, and generally the rents go up over time. But look at this market we're in now. We're in 2020, in the midst of a pandemic. And rents have gone down astronomically in Toronto. They have gone, I've seen as low as $600 per month off rents, off normalized rents, and the average is probably in that sort of like $350 to $400 range off the normal market rent. So those are something I don't want to deal with. So historically, yes, rents generally do go up over time. However, it's not always the case, and we're in that case right now. So reason why speculation doesn't work, and reason why I don't like it and don't necessarily recommend it all the time, is just because I don't know if there's going to be another pandemic in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years when I get this investment property. So how I do it is as follows. So if I'm going to speculate, most pre-construction condos in my portfolio make up between 5 and 10% of the overall value of the portfolio. Why I don't like going above that threshold is because it's pure speculation. It's I don't know when the money is coming back. I don't know when the return is going to be there. I don't know what the market's doing, so it's too risky for me. Some people don't mind it. Some people are buying 1 or 2 properties. It's probably a good way to invest, but for me, that's not how I invest in real estate. So that's one aspect of it. And two is I generally I can always find a better deal on the current market, always. And if a pre-construction condo is selling at, let's say it's $1,200 a square foot, and the average market in Toronto right now is about $1,000 a square foot. If you buy $1,000 a square foot, it will most likely appreciate over time to $1,200 a square foot. So you're making that $200 a square foot buffer over time, where you're not making that in the pre-construction world. It's already sort of built into the profits of these builders' pricing points, because they're predicting what the prices will be in a few years from now. So that I don't like. There's a lot of aspects I don't like, but what I do like about them is there's no headaches whatsoever. If you have a long time horizon, it's incredible for that. If you're buying for your kids or grandkids or something in the future where you don't really want a mortgage right now, but you do want to put some money aside and let that grow, it's a fantastic investment for those vehicles. So when I do buy pre-construction, I don't put more than 5% down. So a lot of builders will give huge incentives right now, especially in COVID. Most of the projects I'm looking at are all 5% down, which allows me to put a very small amount of money down with the anticipation that the money will appreciate over time. And if we can get something that's already under construction or about to begin construction, that's my most ideal purchases when it comes to pre-construction condominiums. So what I did with this property, it was about 2 years ago, they were having a sell-off of inventory. Every builder does this. They'll sell off 70, 80, 90% of the building. They'll do the construction, and then they'll have inventory, 5 to 10% of the building that they can't sell for whatever reason. Too small, the views are bad, overpriced, whatever the reason. Excuse me. They're always stuck with this inventory. And every builder, there's none of them are exempt, they have inventory sales all the time. And that's what I look for. I'm always looking for a good deal. So when it came to this property, they were selling it for below what they were selling previously, 2 years previous to when they were selling the building. They started construction and sales on the building in 2015. I bought this in 2018. So 3 years after they had started sales, they were selling this at lower than what they were originally selling. They just wanted to get rid of the properties. 2018 was a good year for the Toronto downtown condo market. So probably things were moving rather rapidly. But this particular builder just wanted to get rid of inventory. So I picked one up, 5% down. That 5% down represented, it was $21,000 of a down payment, or deposit, sorry. And of that $21,000, they paid me $16,000 in commissions to purchase the property. So my out-of-pocket expenses was about $5,000 to put down on the property to hold a spot, basically to control the paperwork that came along with that property. So now, fast forward 2 years later, less than 2 years later, that property is now finished and built, and I'm taking possession of it literally in 2 days. And right now, the cost per month, this is part of the case study here, so cost per month is $1,718.72 per month. So that covers my mortgage, my taxes, my maintenance, and my insurance. So that's what we call the interim occupancy fees. So current market rent is about $1,800 a month for these units. It's going to be challenging in this market, especially in December, to rent out this property. But I'm very confident we'll get it done for $1,800 a month. In a normalized market, these would go for about $2,100 a month, if not more, depending on inventory. So right now it's cash flow positive $81.80. In a normalized market, which will probably get back to hopefully by late 2021, early 2022, that rent, if it goes back up to $2,100 a month, that's cash flow positive almost $400 per month on a $5,000 investment. So basically I get that back my investment every year in perpetuity. So that just money keeps coming back every single year once rents are more normalized. So the point of that is in Toronto and some of the major cities across North America, it's hard to buy condos and pre-construction condos as rental investment properties because of the cash flow issue. Now, what a lot of my clients do, not through my recommendation, but this is just how they buy it, they are okay to lose money on the outset knowing that the market's going to appreciate. And that's sort of the big feature of condominium investing, rental properties. And when it comes down to it, the appreciation has to factor into the overall investment. So for this particular property, even in today's market where the market's down, it's not ideal. The pandemic is taking hold across the city. Rents are being hurt, so values of real estate goes down slightly. This same unit just resold on the assignment market for $550,000. So my original purchase price was $401. His current value is about $550. I put $5,000 of my own money down, and I get to take possession of it this week and get that rent roll coming in. So I'll be cash flow positive from day one. I've got $150,000 of equity built into the property. I only invested $5,000, and come 6 months, 7, 8 months from here, a year from now, when the property is officially finished and you need a mortgage on it, I'll just refinance the property, get my money out, plus more, keep the property as a rental property, and just keep building and go from there. So that's how I buy pre-construction condos. That's what I'm buying this week. If I'm buying, I want you buying it as well. Thanks for joining me.